Love home reno? Don't change the channel. Today we have a fun-packed, action-filled episode, so we're diving right into the viewer's email. Dear Bob, love the show. Can you please demystify the process fabrication-wise when choosing between quartz and granite countertops? My husband and I are debating / arguing and fighting over whether we should use quartz or real granite. Is one really much different than the other? Anna Marie, thank you so much for the question. It is your questions which create every single episode on the Just Ask Bob show. Now we're visiting the fabricators. Let's head in. Load the truck, ladders, tools, all materials. And don't forget the coffee maker. Let's go. We're on location at National Stone Design with my good friend Martel.
How you doing, Bob?
Excellent. Thank you for allowing the viewers into your facility. Martel, please tell the viewers your history with stone fabrication.
I would love to. So, with 15 years experience in the granite industry, I started off as an installer for a really big company doing installs. And then we transitioned recently, the last 3 or 4 years, into our own fabrication shop. And from there, we have been building up a client base and doing excellent work for all of our customers.
Excellent. Experience really matters in this industry. Now, we've talked about this off air before. We did a program on this years ago, demystifying sort of the competition between quartz versus granite.
Yeah, so quartz versus granite, great question. Always, that's one of the highest asked questions ever. So first of all, what's cheaper, granite or quartz? When we're talking about granite and quartz, we're talking about two different materials. We're talking about a natural material and we're talking about an engineered stone.
Yes.
And they vary from price points in each one. So with granite, you could get a very inexpensive one or you can get a very expensive one and everything in between, and the same with quartz. And that goes with branding as well. High-end quartz companies are going to be a little bit more expensive, and then the cheaper ones are going to be cheaper because of the resin contents and other factors.
What about from a strength concept? Is a homeowner worrying which one would crack, let's assume if you stepped on it gently? I mean, that's a whole other question. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. Should people be walking on the product or not? But I know it varies. It's not black and white.
Yeah, so with cracking and stuff like that, at the end of the day, if it's installed correctly and fabricated correctly, you shouldn't ever have an issue. When it comes to walking on the stones, you'll never want to actually do that because you don't want to take that risk. If it's necessary, though, I would stay away from areas where your sink is and corners and whatnot, and always make sure it's very well supported in the areas that you have to put a little bit more weight on. But at the end of the day, we're going to try and refrain from walking on.
Oh, no, I know. What are some of the most popular questions homeowners would ask you?
Yeah, well, like I said, the biggest question that people ask is going to be granite and quartz. What's cheaper? What's better? That's the number one, which we already touched on. But another one I would say is staining. For staining? What should I get? And I say, well, it depends. I mean, if everything has the chance to stain. If you do, the things that are going to like tomato sauce, orange juice, coffee, if it sits on even an engineered stone, it's always the chance that it can penetrate.
They can get through.
Now, with that being said, it's much more resistant than any natural stone and engineered stone, such as a Caesar Stone Quartz brand. Yeah, staining is the big one for sure.
What about heat resistance between, again, let's say a good quartz product and a granite product?
Yeah, we're always going to, with quartz, it's definitely heat resistant.
Resistant, that's the key.
Yes, it's resistant, but at the end of the day, you don't want a direct flash of heat to go on any quartz product directly. because that flash of heat could, in very rare cases, cause a crack or a burn mark on this, especially if you're dealing with a white quartz.
The light color.
Yes, and actually when you're at 90-degree angles, like on L shapes and stuff like that, that is your stress point right there.
I see.
And that's when you have to get a good fabricator that knows what he's doing, so those corners are in a radius and not a perfect 90. Because if they're in a perfect 90,
fraction.
that's a no-no, big no-no.
Now, granite then, I believe, has a stronger heat resistance.
Yes, absolutely. So especially the dark ones.
Okay, but that's interesting because from what I've been taught, I mean, you could dispel this. The stone itself has the heat resistance, but my understanding is the sealer that goes on top, that's not as resistant. So that may leave a light marring or a light discoloration.
Sure, I mean...
The sealer itself may not withstand the burn or the heat, but the granite would.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, again, it depends on what you're doing at the end of the day. If
temperatures vary.
Yeah, I'm going to say if you're putting a hot pot from the stove directly onto any piece of stone, you're asking for trouble at the end of the day. But that's why we create, like, you know, hot plates out of stone as well that you can kind of use, and you can put felt feet on the bottom.
Common sense.
Cutting boards, whatever. So we always give the customer that option, whether they want something like this, if they're going to need it, if they're, you know, a busy household and they're throwing pots around and whatnot.
Yes. Sealer, can we touch on sealer for a moment?
Absolutely. Yeah, so an engineered stone, such as quartz, it doesn't require sealer whatsoever. It's one of those things that it was engineered for a purpose, you know, to be stronger, to be stain resistant, and to not require a sealer. Any natural granite, marble, quartzite, always, for us, it's a sealer. You need the sealer, whether it's...
How often?
Yeah, so that's a great question. It depends on the stone, really. Like a darker, more dense material won't need it as much. A lighter, more porous material will require it more. We typically say once a year, give it a seal, and you should be good.
Are there any pros and cons with the color, for example? You know, some light quartz or granite, and because the styling's amazing.
Sure.
The variation, the styling's amazing, and you know, to each their own. But from a fabricator standpoint, any suggestions you can offer the viewers as far as things to keep in mind?
Sure. Yeah. When anytime you're dealing with a natural product such as granite, marble, quartzite, you always have to understand that it isn't a perfect material. It comes from nature, and when it comes as that.
It's natural.
So there could be a little chip here, there could be a little pit here, and that's what you get when it comes to... Now, if you want that, you know, perfect finish. Uniform finish without any of that natural, like imperfections, characteristics we like to call it, then you have to go to the engineered stone.
I understand. My experience, we've done an episode many years ago with Caesar stone. At least Bob's favorite, hands down, is Caesar stone.
Sure.
And yours?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, Caesar stone's been great. We deal with Caesar stone for years now. I love installing their product. I love fabricating their product. They offer a wide array of colors. And if the customers can't find a color with Caesar stone, then you know, they're pretty much out of luck.
A few weeks ago, I was here at your facility. You gave me a tour. It is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
State of the art equipment. The viewers are in for a treat today. Please give us a full tour.
Okay, let's go. Over here's our fabrication area. This is where we have some finished product and the guys are working away, making everything shiny. And here's Austin, ready to give us a little demo of what he's doing.
Yeah, so I'm going to be shining and shaping the edges here.
Yep. This is what brings it from a raw edge to a super shiny edge.
Martel, what do we have here? Looks like a nice setup.
Yep, we got the sink set up here, ready to show everybody how to mount the sink. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Over here, we have just some finished product ready to go out the door tomorrow morning.
Well, that's ready for installs.
Yes, it is. And then over here is we have our saw.
This is amazing.
Yes, thank you. It's quite the impressive piece of machinery. It's our 5-axis CNC saw. This is what cuts everything into shapes before it gets shiny over there.
I don't even want to guess what this is worth.
Yep, I wouldn't.
Startup costs for a business like yours must be insane.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to a contractor. Sure, we need a truck, a handful of tools.
Yep.
We can get our foot in the door and build and grow our business from there. Absolutely. But with this is quite an investment.
Yeah, there's several different ways you can start a fabrication shop, really. You know, you could buy a very inexpensive saw and measure with a tape measure and a piece of paper. But people spending that kind of money, they're going to want to
Homeowners know. They want to be impressed. I mean, at the end of the day, you're only as good as your tools are.
Yep, you're only going to get the clientele if you can digitally template everything and then cut everything efficiently and accurately.
Wow. Martel, take us and the viewers through the process now.
Absolutely. So first we got to shut these doors and lock it.
Safety first.
Absolutely, always. What you're looking at here is our digital template and our shapes. I'm just going to remove those from the screen right now, and then this is the real-time high-definition picture of your slab that we saw.
Okay.
The camera takes a picture and throws it up on the screen here, and this is the process of nesting. When you nest, this is what we throw the pieces on here, and we move them onto the slab wherever we want. We can avoid certain problem areas if needed, or we can nest it and spin it around wherever we need it to go. I'm going to decide to put this piece here, like this.
Wow.
And then we're going to see if we can fit another piece on here. And then we can just spin this piece and nest it right tight into there. And these blue lines represent where the saw blade cuts and when it starts and finishes. So this seems like a pretty good spot right here to begin the process.
That's amazing. 100% true accuracy.
Absolutely. It's within a hair.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the only way that I decided to do this. So if you want, we can begin the milling.
Yes.
And fire this up.
Lots of water. Can't cut dry, right?
No dry cutting in this shop. Absolutely not. So what's happening right now, it's milling out all the corners. As I told you before, your corners have to be a radius. If not, then that's a very big stress point. So these areas here where it's being milled, that gives it that radius to relieve the stress in these L shapes.
What if that was cut at a true 90? That can fracture right across, right?
Absolutely. If this is cut at a true 90, then the pressure in the slabs are right here, and this can crack.
Are there fabricators that cut them on a 90? You know, inexperienced shops, maybe just.
I'm sure there are.
Wow,
I'm not.
I know in my trade, I've seen a lot of crazy things done.
Yeah, there's a lot of times when we go into a job that another company has done, and what happens is they'll say, "Oh, was this done properly or incorrectly?" And I'll prompt them, and I'll say, "Yes, it was. This shouldn't have been done this way, it should have been done this way. I'm sorry, and if you want us to fix it, we can take care of you."
I spend a lot of time fixing other contractors' work as well. It's interesting to know it's in a lot of industries.
And the customer, they deserve, you know, for what they're paying for your product or your service, they deserve the best.
They do, they do. And when you perform the best, you get referrals.
Absolutely. And
good, they tell everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
bad, they tell everybody too.
And that's a big part of our business here. We put out good quality work, and we get referred to by our customers, by our contractors, by our kitchen companies, and that's how you keep things moving.
Martel, you're going to install a sink for us?
Yeah, I'm going to show you the process of installing a vanity sink.
Excellent.
So we have our little setup here. The plywood represents the bottom of our sink cabinet area, which would be in the household, in the bathroom. And so how we begin is with our 100% silicone. It has to be 100%. We administer it on the lip of the sink.
Nice thick bead.
Yeah, don't be cheap. You could always clean it off if it gets a bit messy. We want that to adhere 100%. And once we apply the silicone and we get a good suction, after 24 hours, the sink will be ready for plumbing.
Excellent. How do you deal with rushy plumbers? We talked about this before. Absolutely. Rushy tradespeople.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by now, most plumbers and contractors know that if your countertops are going in, that you have to wait a day to get everything connected. There are workarounds, but such as epoxy and whatnot, but I don't suggest doing that, only in extreme measures, because epoxy, they can tend to break if prompted to. With the silicone, there is flexibility, and especially 100% silicone.
Allows you the flexibility.
Exactly, and then once it's totally dry, you could stand in this sink. Not saying to stand in the sink, but definitely.
The strength, oh no, I've had to rip silicone off of different things, and the bond is intense.
It is intense, yeah, and if this sink does have to be removed after it's installed properly, you're not going to get it out in one piece. It's going to come out in pieces.
Rushy plumbers can wait.
They can wait.
Never mind the rushiness. You take your time, you do it right.
Exactly, and now
Now you're getting the bond, and you must center this. You have one chance, not one chance, you can wiggle it.
Yeah, you can wiggle it into place. I like to do the wiggle to make sure the silicone gets nice and tight up to the bottom.
That it draws itself.
Absolutely, and once you start seeing it leak out a little bit, at that point you can kind of like gauge on, and then now we have our little support on the bottom that we mount.
Okay.
Stick it up from underneath.
It's like 3/4 inch plywood with a shim.
Yep, absolutely. And this is all measured beforehand to ensure accurate measurements. Yep, and then when you have it in place, then you can kind of...
That's when you do the final center.
Absolutely. And then once you have your sink centered, it's done.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, quick and painless.
Excellent. Fantastic job, Martel.
My pleasure.
Honestly demystified the process of fabrication for all our viewers. Everybody stay tuned. We're on location at DSK Kitchens with my good friend Amy. Amy, thank you. This means so much to me. Amy from Caesarstone, Canada.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate your time.
Your products are stunning, innovative. Now, what areas would yourself and your fabricators travel, for example, within Ontario to promote these products and have these products fabricated and installed in our customers' homes?
Well, there are many certified Caesarstone fabricators across Ontario, but it doesn't just stop there. We're actually a global company and we're available in all regions. You be sure to look for the Caesarstone Stein for approved dealers.
Wow, wow. Now, let's talk about the stone itself. The properties in the stone, can you tell us about some of the different lines that you have, different products that you offer?
Well, currently we are probably one of the world leaders and innovators in engineered quartz. Currently, as of 2020, we've launched a porcelain line to add an addition and to offer many more styles.
That's awesome. I've read about that.
Yeah, it's exciting because that can also go interiors as well as exteriors. And please don't just limit our product to your kitchen countertops. We can be used for backsplashes, window ledges, furnitures, you name it. There's so many different applications, and I'm always excited to bring it again into your home design.
For ages now, decades, I've been using tile. Either subway tile when it's popular, mosaic tile, doing the backsplashes. I think not only is this innovative, but it's just different. It shines having your product go on the backsplash. Now, of the different products that you have, can they all be put on a backsplash, or would you recommend one over the other?
Well, absolutely. All of the products are completely suitable to be used both on the counter, on the splash. We're always recommending following your manufacturer's suggestions in regards to the appliances and clearances. Those are very important details. But in regards to the product, whether it be a honed product, polished product, or a more natural finished product like our jar crest up top, there's a finish to suit each particular person, and it's just a matter of understanding what your preferences are, but they will all perform beautifully for many years to come.
Okay, again, because I'm trying to learn from you today, because these are the questions homeowners engage me with, and sometimes not being a designer, I don't have the answers. One I can think of was emailed to our office not too long ago. Should the backsplash, the wall splash, match the countertop itself, or do you want to contrast or have it pop? And again, to each their own again, but what are your thoughts?
Absolutely, that's a great question. I mean, having said that, it's really to the customer's preference. There are no rules, that's the wonderful thing, but sometimes...
the thing with design, true.
Sometimes the more options, the more overwhelming and confusing that can be.
It can get busy.
Well, homeowners. So sometimes I would more recommend, if you're not confident in your design choices, I would just keep it simple.
Match it.
Absolutely. But if you want to create a little bit of excitement, you can always choose to do a focal island and then perhaps an alternating counter perimeter or backsplash complementing the island. There's so many different options that we can do, Bob. You know, if you're really unsure, because it's such a long-term application, I would consider maybe working with the designer to help you through some of the different color choices, because there really are so many. We offer well over 60 different colors and varied thickness just in our quartz offering alone. And then in addition is our porcelains. There's just so much to choose from. So if you're not sure and not confident in your own decisions, I would certainly enlist the help of a professional.
I think it's worth that, because this is something that should be planned out well. This is not a throwaway or a limited life expectancy of a product. It's there, it's forever.
It's actually
make the right decision.
Lifetime warranty, and it's transferable. Wow. So what that means to the potential homeowner is the fact that when you purchase a Caesarstone product, it can be registered, you get a lifetime warranty, and even should you sell the home, you can promote it as a feature within the home, because that warranty is transferable to the next homeowner. So it really will be the last thing standing in your home.
Amy, can we take a moment and demystify the properties of quartz and what constitutes the real thing?
Okay.
Versus a fake.
You know, there are a lot of substitutes out there that are trying to fall into the range of an engineered quartz. And it's really important that people understand that there are standards on product. That isn't necessarily what people focus on. Obviously, pricing is a huge thing for a lot of people. But you have to ask yourself a question. Is an entry-level product at a couple $100 going to perform the same? The second you have to go and repair that top, what money have you really saved as the contractor? True. You're also not guiding your customer to the best choice. And at the end of the day, we qualify for all the industry standards, being NSF, Green Guard, Declare Label. These are all really important standards that set us apart from other products that just don't have those standards. And it's concerning when you shouldn't put some of those products in contact with actual food.
Wow. And I mean, it's a countertop. Food is meant to be on the countertop. I have read that the knockoffs can volatile organic compounds are off-gassing out of it. So potentially, while people are sleeping overnight, these countertops are poisoning the air that you're breathing.
I mean, that's truly a possibility, and with more airtight homes, you know, better
the way they're built.
Yes. I think that's a huge concern, and absolutely, and I think it's important for people to do their homework and understand the standards, because standards are not guaranteed. It's not something you have to have. Anybody can bring any countertop from anywhere in the world with whatever ingredients they want to put in. There's no one policing or testing these products before they're installed.
So it really comes to the reputation of the company.
Absolutely.
Caesarstone is going to maintain all the criterias, with safety being number one for first and foremost. If somebody's selling a knockoff at 60% cheaper price, they may not be maintaining those items. More than likely, they're not.
Hey, we have entry-level to luxury products, and obviously we'll have a range of pricing, but we should be able to have a product within your price point. And, you know, working with the type of fabrication like National Stone, who did a great job and
phenomenal,
very reasonable rates in installing product.
And at the end of the day, it's safe.
Absolutely.
That's what matters. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
So much. My pleasure. Thank you. Everybody stay tuned. Up next after break, we're on one of our job sites installing the beautifully fabricated vanity countertop. Wow, I had a lot of fun on this episode. Special shout out to Martel from National Stone Design, and a heartfelt thank you to Amy from Caesarstone Canada. Let's kick it off with Bob's top pick, Quartz from Caesarstone, hands down. And make certain The fabricators at National Stone Design will include the installation along with the fabrication. So you don't have to kill yourself like we did today, carrying this thing down a long driveway and up 2 flights of stairs. Follow us on social media, from Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, right to X, for everything to do with home rental. And visit our site, justaskbob.com, the largest home improvement database on the net. Visit the site, subscribe to our newsletter for everything to do with home improvements. Not very techy, no problem at all. Bob's always old school. Pick up the phone and call 289-649-0196. Again, that's 289-649-0196. Thank you. Absolute pleasure to work with. Thank you, and until the next one. We got that for a blooper. That'll make a good blooper. It was the shim, right? The shims were a pain.
Okay, that's a redo, guys. That's on me.